All right, so there I was, sixth grade, and I went to a Catholic school at the time, and it was a hard time in my life because I was a really active kid, and I had friends, and I went to a very small Catholic school, and we didn't have any really outlet, any ways to get our energy out, and everybody knew each other. It was a very tight-knit community. We had our gym class. We did have a gym, but we typically would go outside for recess. We used to have recess. You guys, with the kids now, if you remember back when you were a kid, there was recess. And when we go out to recess, you'd have your kids that you'd play ball with, we'd play basketball with. Now, our recess was in the church parking lot at the time. This is now, mind you, sixth grade. So what's the year? It was what, 12 or 13? I can't remember the exact year. I was young. My birthday was in September. So I was one of the young kids. It was about maybe 15 kids in each class. And, you had those connections. You're starting to make friends and starting to, start to build relationships. And there was always somebody that you just didn't get along with, or always somebody that was maybe hating on you. Now, I'm going to share with you just a little story about what happened to me and the advice I got and how it's going to relate to your weight loss journey, especially if you have haters. Now, if you don't have any haters, if you're trying to lose weight, if you have nobody trying to sabotage your effort, this message isn't for you. But hang on tight, because I want to share with you this story. And I'll never forget, there was this kid who moved in town, and he started going to school, and he used to brag all the time. He used to talk a lot of stuff, and he used to lie a lot. And I remember him like clear as a bell, and I won't mention any names because who knows who's listening or watching. And we would go out to the playground at recess, and then we'd go out at lunchtime, and we'd play, and we'd do all kinds of fun, kickball and basketball and tag and all those things where kids used to be active, right? But I'll never forget, because this guy just kind of he just was like, he bothered me because he lied and he told stories, and he was just like, I didn't like him. But anyway, he used to make fun of me at the same time. He used to not be my friend. In fact, he used to say anything against what I would say. And he used to lie, and he used to push me around. He was a bit of a bully, so to speak. A bit of a hater, so to speak. I had some friends, and he didn't like that I had certain friends. So anyway, not to get too detailed into it, but I want to draw you into this, because I'll never forget, because he tried to fight me. He tried to fight me a couple of times. And what I learned as a kid growing up, and my dad taught me, and whether this is you're going to condone this or not, it's not about this. It's about my story. So listen to the story. So my dad said, hey, this is the advice that my father gave me, and it's worked pretty well, and it's fared well for the last 47 years. He said, Mark, whatever you do, don't get into a fight. Don't get into a fight. It's not worth it. Don't get into it. But, here's the but. He said, but if you have no other option, and there's no other option, he said, do this. He said, if you're going to get in a fight, now again, we're talking about avoiding fights, but if you get in a fight, he said, Mark, and he showed me, we boxed and all that stuff. In fact, I remember boxing gloves, and he said, Mark, you punch him as hard as you can. You punch him in the face as hard as you can, and two things are going to happen. If you punch him in the face as hard as you can, first time, now mind you, this is sixth grade, punch him in the face, and if he goes down, chances are he's not going to bother you ever again. If he gets up, he's like, you better be able to run fast because he's going to come after you. So that's my story. Now, why does that have to pertain to you and the haters? And weight loss and haters, what the heck does that have to? Now, I'm not telling you to go punch the haters in the face, although you might want to. Avoid. If there's haters out there, the first piece of advice that my father gave to me when I say haters, right? You have bullies and bullies, whatever you want to call it. And when you have those in your life, I know what happens is it makes it hard. Sometimes you just submit and you just let them bully you. You let them hate on you. You accept it. You tolerate it, right? There's only so much you can tolerate before you either got to do something, right? The easy way to do it let's just say on social media, and this is not even related to weight loss, you block them. I got plenty of haters, especially being a man of faith, a Christian who's open about his faith. Again, I'm going to continue. That's part of my faith journey. But I don't care. I know there's going to be people that will stop talking about your religion. Blah, blah, blah. Well, sorry, that's not who I am. If you want to hate on me, go somewhere else. Or if you're going to hate on me, goodbye, I'm blocking you, right? So, of course, you can't do that face to face. Maybe you have relationships Maybe you have friendships, maybe your marriage, maybe you're dating somebody, maybe in your office, and there's maybe some haters out there that are trying to, and they don't necessarily mean it. It could even be your close friends. You could even have friends that are hating on you trying to lose weight because they're not used to you being a different way. They're used to you being chubby Kathy, or overweight. You know, no pointing names, or overweight. Overweight Alice. You know, those type of things. They're used to you being a certain way, and they don't necessarily mean it. And I don't necessarily think the 6th grade. I think he's just a kid, just trying to fit in, and he chose to bully me. Well, he learned. After a while, like, again, I tolerated, then I punched him in the face. I'll never forget the day that I was walking back. We had the nuns, and I had nuns who were teachers. So the nuns, it's why I had my own seat in the principal's office. So we had nuns who would walk us back across the church parking lot, from the school, across the street to the church parking lot. And I'll never forget, he was pushing me on my back. He was pushing me and pushing me. And he was just like being a jerk. Like, I can't even think. I would like to say some other words, but I'll refrain from that. And I'll never forget. And he pushed me down, and kids were laughing. And I was like, that was enough. Enough is enough. And I turned around and I punched him in the. Now I didn't it didn't kill him or anything. I punched him in the face, hit him, started bleeding in his nose, cried. I got in trouble. He never bothered me again. Now, I'm not saying to go punch your haters in the face. But let's just take that out of that context and think of, what can you do? You can remove them. You can remove yourself. Avoid what my dad said. Avoid it at all costs. Well, I couldn't avoid it. I sat next to the kid in school. He was in my class. But you can avoid those people. You can block them. Let's just say that they're hating on you on social media. This is not even necessarily related to weight loss, but let's just talk about weight loss. Say you have your friends Wednesday night, ladies night. Come on, you look good just the way you are. You know, we love you no matter what. God loves you. Don't get me wrong. God does love you no matter what you weigh, no matter what you look like. He loves you unconditionally. But if you're not happy with the way you look and feel, if you're not happy with the extra 40 pounds on your weight, on your body, then you got a couple of choices. You can choose to sit back and you can choose to sit back and do nothing. You can choose to struggle on your own, or you can choose to do something about it and do yourself a favor and move those haters out of the way. You have to be intentional about this. I've seen it time and time again, because what happens, you get on a diet kick, you do that little cleanse, you do that little weight loss, you do the little Weight Watchers, and then guess what? I say haters, aka saboteurs, they come along, and maybe you're your own hater. There's a thing. Let's talk about that for a moment. Maybe you're your own. Maybe you have a lot of people are supporting you, wanting you to improve, wanting to get healthier. And if that's the case, it's awesome. But maybe the difference is you're your own hater. You see, sometimes you don't feel you're good enough. You don't think you're worthy. You don't think you have it in you to get that weight off, to get your body in the kind of shape that you know you have the potential to be in, but you just can't see it because you're too busy hating on yourself, because you had a weekend that you binge drinked and you ate whatever the hell you want, and you keep snacking late at night, and you keep dipping your hands into the freezer to grab some more ice cream. Does that sound familiar? And it's not so much doing that. It's so much hating yourself after. Haters. So what do you do? How do you deal with the haters? Well, what happens is, again, two things. Like my dad told me, for my hater back in 6th grade, is he said, Mark, avoid it. He's like, get out of his way, now I didn't hang out with him, outside of school. We never did any of that. That was great, but I couldn't avoid the situation of being in school with him. So I had to take the next step. Hopefully you don't have to take that next step. The first step is to avoid, to remove the hate. Remove it. Now, if it's in your mind, it's hard to remove the hate, right? So how do you remove hate? It's kind of like a habit, right? If you think of a bad habit, I personally know for a fact that you cannot break. There's no such thing as breaking habits. You don't break bad habits. I know I'll always like sugar treats, like I'll always like chocolate. It's kind of like a smoker. Now, mind you, a smoker might be a non-smoker for 5, 10 years, 20 years. But chances are, if they get back into that habit, they're going to like it. They're going to have that taste for it, that appetite for it. So I'd say with regards to food, I don't ever feel like I'm going to break the habit of enjoying New York pizza or enjoying some desserts or sweets. But what you can do is have those as a habit. Maybe that's over on this side. and then start working on some newer habits. Start working on some positive things. The hard thing about that, though, the thing that gets in the way of your journey are the haters. The thing that gets in the way is your mind telling you can't do that, that's not, you're not going to win. You're not going to be able to lose the weight. You're not going to be able to really succeed. You failed so many times before. You kept falling back on your old ways. Well, of course, if you do the same thing over and over again, don't expect to get a different result. If you've done diets in the past and you keep failing on diets, there may be something else that you could choose that would be better for you. But don't get me wrong, there's still going to be those haters there saying, no, Kathy, you just the way you look, beautiful just the way you are. Or Alice, yes, Alice, you're perfect the way you are. You don't have to. Well, then what happens when you go to your doctor and your doctor tells you a different story? Your doctor tells you that, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to go on medication because you have high blood pressure and you have high cholesterol. And you know what? You're going to have to lose some weight, because if not, that knee replacement that you're going to need, because all the extra weight you've been carrying around, is going to be really hard to recover from. And your chances are you're not going to be able to walk really well again. You're probably not going to ever be able to do the things you want to do because of all that extra weight, and because now you have two knees. And let's just go there. And you know what? Unfortunately, yes, I know you want to say it's to your hormones and it's your metabolism, but the bottom line is you have been taking crappy care of yourself, and you know what? That's getting the best of you. That's those aren't haters. Those are doctors just being truthful to you. But are you going to let the haters now get in the way of you being your best, of you preventing your body hating on you? See, here's what happens. If you lean into the haters, kind of like what the world's going through right now, right? If you allow the haters to get on you, whether it be politics or whether it be coronavirus, conspiracy theories, if you allow the hate to get on you, you're going to start to feel that hate and then start to do the same thing, right? It's people, I've heard this story, is hurt people, right? It's the same thing with hate. Hate people, hate people. Hate people start to hate people. And guess what? When you get hated on enough, guess what? You start to hate things. Maybe it's yourself. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your friends. Maybe it's your coworkers. Maybe it's this world. Well, okay, there's something to be said about hating this world. It's actually biblical. So the thing is, if you allow that hate to get on you or in your mind or all over you, it's going to be hard to get away from. That's a big habit to be built up. And maybe you have that habit of hate from somebody else or even from yourself over the years. But the difference is now you can move in the direction of different habits. The only way to do that is to remove, like my dad told me when we were growing up. And I'll tell you, I say this in all honesty. I had a great childhood growing up. I got my ass beat, excuse the language, when I deserved it. And I turned out pretty okay. I got disciplined as a kid. I got disciplined. I did not get disciplined when I punched that kid in the face, because I was literally defending myself. And my dad said, now I did get in trouble with the school and the teachers. Of course, I got sent to the principal's office, and then my parents got called and all that. But also, my dad wasn't like praising me. He just says, well done for sticking up for yourself. Now's the time. People, here's the time. It's okay to stick up for yourself. It's okay to block the haters. It's okay to remove yourself from people who are trying to pull you down. It's okay to remove your mindset. It's hard. Probably the hardest thing to do is to remove yourself from the mindset of hating yourself for the way you've let yourself go. Like, that kind of hate is hard. It's really hard. It leads to depression. It leads to anxiety. It leads to people just literally closing themselves off from everybody in the world. I heard this from somebody I talked on the phone with. And it was a woman that was considering my coaching. And I think still she's in that kind of, that prison, if you will, in those chains and the shackles of hating so much how she let herself go. But she told me she lives near the beach and doesn't even want to go to the beach. She's like, I haven't gone to the beach this year because I'm so disgusted about the way my body looks, even with clothes on, not with a bathing suit. She also mentioned hating that she turns down going out with the girls because she hates the way she looks. She doesn't want to be so embarrassed about the way she looks in front of other people. Now, of course, there's other people just ignore it and they just say, yeah, my health is good. I'm 60 pounds overweight and I'm good and healthy. Again, that's your prerogative. But I'm talking about the person who knows there's a lot of hate Like, if there's anything I've realized in the world of 2020 and why I do this daily dose now, it's not just to share with you about health and fitness, is there's a lot of hate going on in the world, in all areas of the world, every area of the world. And I'm choosing to block it out. How am I blocking it out? By sharing some encouragement, sharing some motivation, sharing some inspiration, if you will, because I want this to be inspiring. I want you to realize you can. I've seen it. I've even gotten out of it in times where I've hated. I mean, I failed out of college. I have plenty of moments where I could allow the hate come in, or people. I could allow the people to say, how are you talking about your faith in front of other people? You mentioned the word Jesus. You're not supposed to talk about Jesus to other people. That's spreading your religion on people. No, it's not. It wouldn't be faith if I wouldn't be sharing how much God has showed up in my life. Like, the faith thing is not to keep it to yourself. God's overwhelmed me in the past 10 years, really in the past 47 years. I just didn't realize until I was in my late 30s. But God has showed up in my life so much. He showed me that I can use those stories of me punching a kid in the face. Now, I did apologize to him, but he didn't bother me again. And I tell you what, let's just say as an example, maybe there's some people that you don't need to literally punch them in the face, but punch them so they don't bother you anymore. Get them out of the way. Get your mindset. Remove that. Put all the thoughts down on paper. Own it on a journal. Write it down. The things that you hate right now about the way you let yourself go. And then move it, and then just leave it there and move in that direction towards your health. Move the direction towards losing that weight once and for all. You have it in you. I've helped people lose everything from 5 pounds in the past 25 years, truly. I've helped people lose 5 pounds, everything from 5 pounds to 300 pounds. Losing 300 pounds. I've helped several people lose over 100 pounds. I've had people who went and did the gastric bypass and the band surgeries who lost 100 pounds, who put the 100 pounds back on and finally took it off and changed the direction of their life and moved in the positive direction of keeping that weight off forever. Like, if that's something you want, if that's something you desire, if it's something rather than the hate. I don't know if anybody desires hate. I don't know if anybody desires hating themselves, or anybody desires being around people that are hating on them for their efforts. Maybe it's time for you to get some new friends. Maybe it's time for you to get in and out of a relationship that maybe is struggling. Maybe your office. Maybe everybody knows you for the fat girl or the fat guy. Like, again, and I'm not fat shaming here. I'm just saying there's a lot of hate, even if it's kind of subconscious, where they don't necessarily mean it. Maybe they're not even saying it, but you see they're looking at you and they're judging you. Again, don't let that hate get on you. You have to get off. You're gonna have to punch the hate in the face. Now, I'm not saying to go punch the person in the face. It's time maybe you have to go punch that hate in the face so that you can turn and go in a different direction. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I hope it does. And I want you to be encouraged. I want you to be encouraged to realize hate's gonna be there. Hate's going to exist. We're going into an election season outside of us. I already see it. Again, I already see it. It doesn't matter if you want to have a conversation with me one-on-one and talk about politics to me, that's fine. But I'm sure it's not going to spread my hate about other people's opinions about politics or about race or about coronavirus. I try my best. It is hard. I want to start punching people in the face, let me tell you. But I'd rather just punch the hate and keep it away from me, and just continue to be as encouraging as I can. Because here's the deal, even though I do this daily dose, and this is episode 150, I encourage, I know it sounds weird, but when I do this, I'm encouraged by doing this because I go back and listen and I'm like, you know what, how can I be more encouraging? How can I bring more positivity? How can I bring in some light into the areas of darkness that exist so rampantly in our world right now? And maybe for you, it's with your weight. And as a health coach, fitness coach, I work with people online. If you want to know what that looks like, listen, I'm not the best fit for everybody. I'm not the right fit for somebody just looking for a quick fix. I'm not the best fit for somebody as an online fitness coach to help you if you're just looking for a magic potion. Like, if I could do a magic wand, I don't have a magic wand. Okay, here, I got a screwdriver. If I can wave my magic wand and say, whoo, okay, good, you're going to lose weight and keep it off forever, I would do it. Trust me, I would do it. But the reality is, you got to actually put the intention into it. The reality is there's no magic formula. The reality is you're going to have to want it. The reality is you're going to have to get serious about your life and your health, or your health and your life is going to force you to take action, and not in a good way. You could be taking action now, or your body and your health and your doctors are going to force you to take action later. And maybe you're going to need surgery, and maybe you're going to need prescription medications, and maybe you're going to need to quit work because you can't work anymore because you had you had some kind of medical issue with yourself. Maybe you can't move and you're so overweight now you can't even get out of the house. Maybe those are the things. Maybe your mind is so filled with hate and you have so much anxiety and so much stress and so much fear that you have no outlet for it. And you don't believe that you can get better. Well, I can tell you, you can get better. You can. And you can get help. I think the hardest thing, I would even say specifically for men, because of course we're tough. The men can handle it. Mark, I know how to work out. I know I should eat more protein and eat a salad. I know what to do. I don't need some coach to tell me what to do. Well, okay, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying, why haven't you? You're 50 pounds overweight. You're in your 50s now, and you haven't lost the weight. Why? My perfect question is why? Why haven't you? Well, chances are, I bet you there's some haters in there, and I'll tell you what, maybe it's time to punch them out. Maybe you can't do it on your own. Maybe it's time to get some help. Maybe you have some mental issues that you need to have a therapist take and help you work through them. I'm not a therapist. I kind of feel like I am to some respect. Well, physical therapy, yes. So on a physical needs, I can help you with that. But as far as mentally, there's sometimes you need to go see a therapist. And guess what? The longer you wait, guess what? The more costly. I know for a fact a psychiatrist, a good one's about $500 an hour. An hour. Okay. Now, I commanded a pretty top dollar for personal training, having over 20 years experience. I don't personal train anymore, but it wasn't $500 an hour, I can tell you that. So it's up to you. You can invest in yourself now and in your health and your life now, or you can have doctors tell you you're going to be forced to. It's your choice. So anyway, haters, get the haters out of your life, punch them in the face and move on, all right? Take care. God bless. We'll talk to you soon.